Come now, don't be ridiculous, Nev. Those are old legends, superstitions, and fairy tale stories.
Superstitions or not, I'm getting way spooked.
I've heard stories about these things called electrons, that if you ever run into one, that's it, you're doomed.
Well, if I ever bump into an electron, I'll be sure to introduce him to you, Nev, old boy.
Nope, it'd be too late. You'd be doomed.
Did you hear that?
Heard it, heard it.
Everything I said before about superstitions, I'm taking back right now.
What do we do? What do we do? Why did we have to come here anyway? What if that's an electron? We're all doomed. We're all doomed.
Something tells me electrons don't make noise with their legs.
Giants do.
My grandma told me that an old wizard lived in this forest and that he had control over all kinds of weird creatures.
Thanks, Nevy. That makes me feel a whole lot better.
Hey, what's that glowing thing up ahead?
Huh?
Oh, please, can't we go now? I don't want to stay here a minute longer.
I can't believe my eyes. What is that thing anyway?
It's a real ghost.
Who dares to boldly trespass through the electric forest? Turn back and return to where you came from.
That seems reasonable to me.
We are not going anywhere.
Well, you see, we've come here to find someone.
No one but me lives here. Now leave the forest or you will suffer the consequences.
I ran from soldiers. I crossed the desert. I almost got boiled in oil and I wrestled a monster. And I won't give up now.
You are a very stubborn creature. Leave while you have the chance.
I'm not going anywhere because I think you're my builder.
Excuse me, but did you just call me builder?
I certainly did. Aren't you a human?
Well then, if I'd known that, I would have done away with those shenanigans.
I knew you weren't a ghost.
Are you trying to mess us up, mister?
What's going on here?
Just a simple trick to scare away trespassers, that's all.
Who are you?
I am the person you seek, Trank. It's quite possible we are disturbing the night creatures. It's best that we go inside. Come with me. I think it's somewhere over here. Now, where could it be? Ah, yes, indeed. I see it now. There it is. I can't deny you're one of mine, all right. You are one of my first models. I always put a code on the neck.
I don't remember anything like that.
That's quite normal, my boy. A non-industrial model such as yourself will only store events after its second year of life activity.
How many years have I been alive?
If memory serves me correctly, that'd be about 40 or so years.
40 years old? Wow, I could have sworn you were at least 100 years old.
Oh.
No offense, Trank.
What Nev meant was, Trank's parts look like they may be a bit older than that.
Trank himself was designed and built 40 years ago, but the parts used to construct him were much older, perhaps more than 1,000 years or so. At that time, there were no robots and only humans populated the Earth.
A planet without robots? Amazing!
That must have been wild!
Many beings resided on the planet before robots, my little friend. You may be surprised to know that the human civilization is responsible for your being here.
But we robots have always been here. Everyone knows that.
In order for a non-organic race to be created, an organic race must first conceive of the idea. You were created in the image of another race, a race that came before you, a race that must have had sufficient intelligence to create what would come after.
What race?
I'm speaking about the human race, Trank. You know, like me.
You mean you're not a robot?
No, I'm afraid not.
You know, I thought he had a weird-looking head.
In fact, I'm one of the few human beings who still reside here on planet Earth.
But what happened to the rest of them?
Although they possessed a great intelligence, they were not intelligent enough to stop the foolhardy destruction of the planet they called home.
Boy, talk about dumb.
Nevi!
I know it must seem strange and bizarre to robots like you. But there came a time when human civilization had run its course and there was nothing anyone could do about it. The leaders led their people into costly, foolish battles. Resources were wasted. Nature rebelled. And human civilization was no more.
It's funny, but I feel like I've seen all this before.
Well, this guy did build you, didn't he?
No, I mean, I've seen all this in my dreams.
Yes. Every time I constructed a new robot, I'd program a bit of my story into its memory. Nothing too obvious, but perhaps a trace that would come through dreams or art. That's exactly the reason why it seems familiar to you. But those times are long gone now. Today, humans are hunted, and non-industrialized robots are no longer allowed to be built. Our stories are dead, and with them the hopes for the future.
No, Builder. I believe there's always hope.
When I was a much younger man, Trank, I once believed that too.
Builder, you created me. I need you to help me, okay?
Well, if I were to help all of my creations, I'd have no time to sleep. I've built so many. Now my time is taken up with thinking, with remembering how things used to be.
You know what, Builder? I have a medal with that design.
So you have. I recall building you when I was employed at the New Iron City manufacturing plant. That was one of the greatest periods of my young life. I had been hired as a product planner there. Everything was fine until a young upstart robot wrestled all control from the management. Before I knew it,
My grandpa told me that.
I was made to leave the plant immediately, as well as my work. I happened to leave you behind with my assistant. That's the robot I believe you call Grandpa.
Sure, that's him. That's him.
Your grandpa never got along with that man. He asked me to install a control block in his nerve center so that he could always strongly disagree with him.
That's Grandpa, all right. I just wish more robots would disagree.
That's true. I've noticed that every robot I talk to agrees with everything the leader tells them without question.
I don't. I say I do so my friends won't get
Hey,
mad.
how long has it been since you last changed your antennae?
Let's see. I'm thinking never.
We need to change them? No wonder I always feel a little out of it somehow.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Neither of you have been obeying the leader's commands because you both happen to have damaged antennae. You're not receiving any of the official communications.
Well, that's good to know. I was thinking I had pirated software or something bad like that.
You know, you're both very lucky, because this leader has been exercising a not-so-subtle form of mind control. That leader robot is a most evil and soulless creation, my little friends. His objective is to dominate the planet and transform every robot into his slave.
You know, my grandpa said exactly the same thing.
The one thing he does not control is the vital energy source, which is the sun. We all use the sun, and therefore no one should be able to control it. But if we're not careful, he'll find a way to control it.
But he already does control that, Builder. Why do you think the solar generating plant has been closed and deactivated?
Closed and deactivated? Then how is the city supposed to be able to generate its energy?
The leader is providing all of our energy for us from an undisclosed petroleum plant somewhere.
But why would he switch from solar energy to petroleum? Completely ridiculous. Do all of the citizens agree with this farcical idea?
We've got to do something fast.
I'm afraid there's nothing we can do, little Trank. The world belongs to the powers that be. The leader has won.
Oh no! There must be some way we can stop him.
Yeah, well, there might be. That is, if you're brave enough to fight.
Sure, anything to save Grandpa.
You can count on Nev and me.
He can?
There's a computer at the leader's castle that emits invisible control rays. If someone were able to break in and program a virus into it, the leader would lose control. Not even the guards would obey him.
That sounds easy enough, but we can't waste any time.
If this were 40 years ago when I programmed you for the first time, I would encourage you to work quickly and courageously. But under the circumstances, I think it's best for you to wait until morning. At least until you've had some time to recharge. I've installed a new GPS application inside each of you. You'll automatically know the best possible route. It's up to you now.
I don't know if I can go through with this.
Hey, Trank, is the virus CD hidden safely on you?
Totally secure within me.
Well, men, this is it. You can delay no longer. The entire robot world is counting on you.
Come on, Nev.
I'm very happy I met you, Builder.
I'm glad to know you too. You reminded me of my youth.
Oh, I did?
Go on now, little Trank. Your friends are waiting for you.
And so our hero and his pals left the builder behind and traveled through the electric forest, bravely heading to the palace of the leader.
You know, Trank, your grandfather sure does sound like he was a smart old guy.
You're right about that. He's taught me lots of cool stuff.
I never had the patience to sit down and learn things. I mean, downloading just seems so much more practical, know what I'm saying?
Oh, really, dear Nev? I never would have guessed that.
I just hope my grandpa's okay.
Leader, we have here the prisoner from New Iron City.
I might have known you were behind this, dictator.
Come now. Why let such harsh words ruin our reunion, old friend?
Old friend, we both know you've never had any friends but money and power.
You know, I can't argue with your impeccable logic, my good friend.
You think you're so smart. The citizens are going to rise up and revolt against you and your tyranny.
Oh, we'll control the rabble-rousers. You just leave all of that to us.
Yes, control. That's all you know how to do, isn't it?
Now that brings us to why we're here. You've been resistant to our regime for some time now.
Somebody's got to speak out against these fool ideas of yours.
But I'd rather you didn't, Grandpa. It tends to stir things up, don't you know? I think your brand of dissension really must be kept in check.
That dissension you speak of is the voice of reason.
Well, I for one have grown tired of that voice, and I will have it silenced, dear boy. Guards, take my friend to the reprogram platform. We shall see if we can change your mind about your revolutionary new policies.
You'll never get away with this.
I wouldn't be so sure of that. You see, my friends can be very persuasive.
I think we're almost there. My sensors are perceiving a different kind of air up ahead.
It's probably the petroleum fuel being burned.
That's good. I thought maybe one of us was running on fumes or something.
That smell is getting stronger. There must be something up